Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood, and today this is going to be a product review. I am putting a marking spray through its paces. Specifically, we're looking at the Brilliance Black Metal Laser Spray. I've also got the red, but if you've been looking for a good way to mark your metals, you're going to want to watch this. Alright, first, this is not a paid endorsement. I have not been compensated by Brilliance in any way for the making of this video. This is the product we're going to test and put through all of its paces. This is the Brilliance Black Metal Laser Spray. Now, I've done an entire day's worth of test on the CO2 yesterday, and I'm actually using the Diode with success today, which is surprising because it's not marketed or to the Diode market. So this is the Brilliance Black Metal Laser Spray. On the can she says it's for marking metals, permanent high contrast black mark, used with a CO2, a fiber, and YAG lasers. Quick and easy to use. Now the quick and easy to use part was really what appealed to me when I seen this, because I've been lasering now since June of 2022. This is now January 23, so 6 or 7 months I've been playing with lasers, and I've been, like you landed here because you've been exploring ideas on how to mark metals with your laser. Well, I found the Norton white tile method for marking ceramic tiles and other surfaces. The cold galvanizing compound, the white spray paint that with the titanium bases, primers, all kinds of different techniques. And the biggest headache that I had out of all of those was the preparation time. The cleaning, the prepping, the spraying, the waiting for them to dry. And then once it's cleaned, then it's the aggravation of stripping and cleaning, removing all of that paint and or primer or dry moly or cold galvanizing. And it stinks to high heaven. It stinks when you paint it, it stinks when you laser it, it stinks when you remove it. So this, quick and easy to use, I'm like, okay, got my suspicions, but let's find out. Well, after a day of testing on the CO2 yesterday, it is quick and easy to use. It's not misinformation. So let me tell you a little about the product and what I've learned. On the can here, also on the cap, it says, if you need help, free technical support. Settings and marking techniques may vary depending on the laser and the metal being marked. We can usually resolve most marking issues with simple setting adjustments. Then it goes on to say, 100% satisfaction guaranteed, or your money back. Then it provides you a toll-free phone number, their website, and an email. There's also a QR code on the side of the can that you can scan, and it takes you to the FAQs on suggestions before you even give them a shout. But I'm going to just read the basic directions and start a go at it. I've tested enough materials where I think I can figure out how to do this. Now, the one thing that you should probably be aware of, and it's very clear, your techniques and your powers are all going to vary depending on what laser you're using. Number one, it is made for and marketed to CO2 fiber and YAG lasers. I have had success with Diode, and I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. But if you spray this on your metal and you run a test or a project and you have less than desired outcome, and you pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I didn't like this product, it didn't work for me, I want my money back. Well, that's probably not how it's going to work. You probably need to give them the opportunity to show you, yeah, with a little tweaking, you can make this happen. And trust me, it is worth the time and the trouble to figure out how to make this product work with your laser, because once you do, once you've got it dialed into your laser, this is a cakewalk compared to all those other methods that are out there. Yesterday, and I'll have the videos up here, I'll either have them running here or we'll put a time lapse in here, but I have a piece of sheet metal that I sprayed and then tested. Now these are some of my test grids, grids plural, because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what powers were needed. And so this piece of stainless steel has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different test grids, 4 on this side and 4 on this side, where I really started to get it dialed in and figure out what powers would work. And I'm sure it's not going to show up great in here with all the lights reflecting on the stainless, but I will show you some photos here toward the end of this. But I got this dialed in. Now I sprayed this, and as soon as the spray hit the metal, you could immediately start to see it flash. I coated this lightly, and within 8 minutes, this was completely dry, complete evaporation of the propellant, and it was ready to go to the laser bed within 8 minutes. No drying, no 24-hour wait period, I should say. Sprayed, 8 minutes later to the laser. Now here is the mind-blowing part. Once it come off the laser, I didn't have to take it to the sink or anything. I didn't have to use any solvents. I didn't have to use any cleaning material. I took a dry t-shirt and just wiped off the remaining coating and exposed my marked metals. Can't clean up no easier than that. I took it a step further and used some polishing cream for fine metals to try and remove the engraving, the marking. And I was able to do that on some of the first test grids because I wasn't using the right powers. That was not working. But as I began to dial it in and find that perfect window, man, it's a permanent mark. It ain't coming off. I didn't go to the point of trying to use sandpaper, but it wasn't coming off with any polishing or rubbing or picking at it. So it works. It works really great. And my preliminary test on diodes, it works really great on my 10 watt Comgrow Z1. Now on your lesser powered lasers, on your 5 watts and 1.5 watts, it may work. It may take longer and more power than what I'm having to put through to it to get it to work. But I would probably caution you that if you buy that, they offer this in multiple sizes. This is a 12 ounce can. I've got this is 2 ounce. I got the red metal marking spray just because I wasn't real sure about red, and but they offer it in 2 ounce cans, a 12 ounce can, and they also offer it if you use a pre-valve system in your shop. They offer this in a powder form as well. And these bottles are made for the pre-valve systems. You take your cap off, obviously, and you fill it with denatured alcohol. And there's 2 markings on the side of the bottle. The first marking is you fill it, if you're not using a pre-valve, if you just want to brush this on, if you're putting this on a surface, I don't know, maybe a knurled tool grip, and it's not a flat surface and you want to brush it on so you've got good coatings, a good thick coat, then you might use this, use a sponge brush it on, and you'd fill it to the first red mark, mix it up real well, shake it, and then use your brush to apply it. But if you're going to use the pre-valve, you fill it on up to the higher red line, gets it a little more diluted, and it's pre-valve ready. I was also told that in addition to the pre-val systems, a large part of this was so it made it easier for shipping. International shipping sometimes, and even domestic, you get into issues where you're shipping aerosols and it's hazardous materials. Well, this is not hazardous materials. So that's part of the reason this stuff exists. So it works, and it works great, and there's a lot of different applications or different methods of applying it. Some of the technical stuff that I learned about this. I've got a bunch of notes here, so let me refer to this. All right, now the reason that this cleans up so easy, I mean, a dry t-shirt, just wiped it right off. There are no binders in this. No binders in the formulation at all. So no clogging tips, no partially used cans because your tip's all clogged up. There's no binders. No binders in the solution, so no clogged cans, but no binders means nothing sticking to your material. Once you spray it and coat it, you want to be sure you don't touch or handle the area you're wanting to mark, because if you do, you're going to smudge that and wipe away the spray you just put on there. Also, with the no binders, you do not want to run air assist, because if you run air assist, that has the potential of blowing away any of the material, and you don't need to do that. And air assist is not going to help you in this case. You're not cutting, so just either disconnect your air assist if you can't turn it off. In my case, the Monport, I'm not able to turn off the air assist, but I can just unplug it, and it's no longer an issue. Now, it says in their information that it uses nanotechnology, or I don't know if technology is truly what it is, but it is nanoparticles. There are nanoparticles in this formulation that are what's responsible for the laser making the marking on the metal. For me, this is huge. For anybody watching around the world, maybe not so much, so it might be a deterrent. But it's made in the USA. So I like supporting local, and you've heard me mention that in other videos. So when I can, I like to buy local to me. But if I can't, then at least American made, because I'm here in America. If you were in Sweden and you wanted to buy some Swedish marking spray, if it was available, I would encourage you to do that. If it was available and it worked. But if not, this is the deal. That works really well. All right, what else? Oh, because there are no binders in here, and the formulation and the propellant, when you spray this, there's no bubbling. You don't. How many times have you sprayed your spray paint or your dry moly or anything, and you start to see little bubbles pop up on your surface? Well, that leaves little circles on the surface as it dries, and can lead to some unwanted results. Well, there's no bubbling with this, because when it hits the surface, it's practically already dry. So that's really cool. Mentioned it's pre-val ready. The tech support is available from 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time in the United States. Obviously, Eastern Standard Time, United States. Now, this is their metal marking spray, and they have a spray in the pipeline coming for the ceramic tiles and also for aluminum marking. Those are coming soon. Now, I have seen some videos on this where people have shown some success with the diode, but they did a little test grid, and you're like, okay, well, that's nice, and you see an end result. Well, my experience has been, yeah, I can do an initial test grid and it look okay, but then when I start rubbing on it, it just rubs right off. Well, that's not been the case with this so far, and I'm running, just like I did an 8 test on the CO2 yesterday, I'm doing multiple tests on the diode today, and I've already had some really good success. They have been around since 2012, I believe, so they've got 10 plus years with the Brilliance brand, and I think they come from within this industry, so they've got some experience and some knowledge with them. But whenever you're prepping it, your metal, just wipe it down with denatured alcohol, good and clean, And then just one lazy light coat. Some of the videos you see people doing, oh, you want to do a good coat horizontally, let it dry, and then come back and do a vertical coat so you get a crosshatch. Man, you just get a real nice even coat on it one time. Let it dry for 8 minutes, straight to the laser, make your marks, and Bob's your uncle. It's amazing. So let's take a look at some videos of my test and some pictures of some results. Okay, so this is my second test using the diode. This one was my first test, and everything is solid black, permanent, not coming off. So I actually ran a second test to try and find where it would fail. So this is straight off of the diode laser bed. I haven't touched it other than just removing it from the bed. And this is just a plain worn out nasty t-shirt that I'm just going to take and rub that right off. And now I'm going to put my polish on it and see how much. Right, so at 5% power, there was no marking at all. And I wished I could really tell how this is showing up. But 5% power with a minimum speed of 35 millimeters a second, all the way up to 65, there's no marking. 10% power, you begin to get some marking, but I got a feeling that a lot of this is going to wipe off. We should begin to see a gradient once I put my polish on here, which is what I was hoping to see. So let's get the polish. And this is just a fine metal polish for silvers and golds, jewelry. And as I suspected, a lot of that is starting to be removed, which is exactly what I wanted to see. I want to see where does it stop working. I think I got lucky with my guess. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this. It's a little bit of waste, but we'll clean all this up. Okay, so hope this camera is framed properly. I did this test last night just to see if it would do anything, and that test was ran 3 different speeds, all of them though at 100% power, just to see if I would begin to see a deterioration or a breakdown. But all 3 of these marked perfectly. 5 millimeters a second, 100% power, 10 millimeters and 15 millimeters, all 100% power. Nice, beautiful, dark markings on the metal. And so today I come back in and I'm doing the actual grids to find out where it would break down. I did this one first, and this test grid was done with a speed variation from 5 millimeters a second up to 35 millimeters a second, and power from 40% to 100%. And it's all solid black. There's no gradient, there's no breakdown. You can't tell one grid from the other. So I'm like, okay, so I know that at least it's going to work up to 35 and 40. So this next grid I came back in, started at 35 millimeters a second and took it up to 65 millimeters a second, and power going from 5% to 35%. And so at 35 millimeters a second and 35% power is the darkest of all of these, but it's even beginning to break down. So 35 and 40 looks like the minimum speed for my 10 watt Comgrow Z1. That's the minimum speed and minimum power. Anything above that is just going to be gravy. Anything below that is going to give less than perfect results. So now that I've got that dialed in, I'm going to play with that a little more. These are images that I did with the CO2, and excellent. I mean, and you can really feel that permanent marking on there. Cleaned those up, polished them, they look really good. And I'll give you the test results on that as well. So, if you're just wanting to know, will it work? Yes, it will work. You want to know more about the settings that I've used? Hang around, don't go anywhere. These are the results of the CO2 testing. Now I'm running multiple tests with the CO2 with the black and the red to get to the best possible result for each. Initially my plan was to run 2 identical tests. These were both black, these are both red. The plan was to keep these in pristine condition, and this was to be the test that I would abuse to try and remove the material. But neither one of them were that great, so I ended up having to run more tests. The initial test with both black and red on the 60 watt Monport CO2, I started with a minimum speed of 150 millimeters a second, going up as high as 300 millimeters a second, with the power ranging anywhere from 10 to 70%. And on the first half of it, there was really no result whatsoever, and less than lackluster, or very lackluster results, I should say, on the other half. The red did not perform as well as the black. But I took this information and decided to do more tests, because that's what you do. So with that information, I was able to run more tests. And this time I started with my black here and went from 80 millimeters a second up to 140 speed, and power still 10 to 70. And there I got better results, but still not what I was hoping to see. So more tests with the black, this time from 10 millimeters a second up to 70 millimeters a second. And now I'm beginning to see a complete grid with the gradient and the breakdown that you would like to be able to dial in your powers. So this is what I used to figure out my best settings to run the images in the black. Now the red, the same thing. Started with 80 up to 140, and then came back with 10 to 70. I just didn't care, and they call it red, but on the bottle itself it says copper tone. It says red ink with a copper tone. And I guess this could have a copper finish, a copper tone, a very old nasty penny. It's not a bright copper, and it's barely a red. And this could be the results from my testing, but I was able to get really excellent results from the black, and just not what I was hoping to see with the red. Not something that I would probably spend my money on again or reinvest in. The black is a done deal. That's all I'm going to keep in the shop. The red I can take or leave. Because to get really good coverage, the darker you get it, the better the coverage, the less red it is. It's more black. So, those are my CO2 tests. Now let's look at the images up close and personal that I got with the CO2. So this is my U.S. Marine Corps logo, Darth Vader and my logo. All three of these were set up on the LightBurn workbed, sent to the laser and burned it in one pass. And it is crisp. The detail in the ropes of the rope around the Marine Corps is very fine. Excellent work by the Monport, and then the marking ink did a superb job. Same with the details in the Darth Vader mask. I really couldn't be happier with the outcome of this. So I had excellent success on the CO2 and excellent success with the diode. So in conclusion, Hobo with Wood gives Brilliance Laser Marking Ink 2 thumbs up and a toe. This is good stuff. The biggest thing that I can say, the most impressive thing I can say about it is how easy it is to use. And the cleanup. Man, is that impressive. After all the headaches I've gone through over the last 6 months with paint thinners and micro thinners and cleaning and prep, the smells, I will not use anything else if I find myself in need of needing to mark any metals. And I look forward to when they release their marking spray for the ceramic tiles. I'm hoping that these are going to be as easy to use and as laser friendly as this laser, the metal laser spray. So, strongly recommend. What I'm going to do now is going to, because this is pretty well summed up and it's been pretty lengthy. But for the rest of this video, for anyone who is interested in watching, I'm actually going to include all of the videos of the testing. The prepping, the spraying, the test on the laser bed, to the cleaning. Those are all going to be from here on out. Is the real-time videos of all the testing of the materials. Okay, I hope the mic picks me up okay. Got this on one coat, probably a little bit heavy. There's like a little bit where I was holding it up when I was spraying it. Got a little ridge here at the bottom where I actually had some run going on, but that's irrelevant. That's not going to be in focus or framing area. But she has dried, she has flashed over, and it is now turned to a solid white finish. And to show you just how fragile it is, I sprayed this area here so we could take a look. And my fingers already touched there, but see that? That just wipes right up. So after an entire day of testing, I finally come up with these 3 images. We're going to clean up and see if this is not exactly what you would hope to have after using a marking spray. And let's cross our fingers. That looks looking pretty good. Now the test to see if she'll hold up to the polish. After all the testing today, I believe we got a home run here. Now that is impressive. So, in summary, a big thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, and the toe for the Brilliance Black Metal Laser Spray. I cannot impress upon you enough how easy this is to use. It's the greatest thing I've seen for marking in the 7 months I've been trying to do this. So, check below for a link to get you hooked up with your Brilliance. As always, thank you for watching. A huge thanks to all my supporters. Thank you to my patrons. Until the next video, I'm Steve, Hobo with Wood, and I'm out.